If you've started your first job or gotten a new one, congratulations! When starting, your employer probably gave you a form that looks like this. This is called the Personal Tax Credits Return, or TD1 form. Just so you know, you'll get two of these. You'll get a federal TD1 form and another one for the province or territory you're working in. Depending on your employer, you'll either get the TD1 form on paper or an electronic format to fill out. It's super important to fill out your TD1 form correctly. Don't worry, we'll help you through it. So why is it important? The TD1 form gives your employer the best estimate of your personal tax situation so that they can deduct the right amount of income tax from your pay. If you don't give accurate information on the form, your employer may take the wrong amount of tax off your pay. This may lead to either of two things: not getting enough tax taken off your pay and owing more money when doing your taxes, or having too much tax deducted over the year and getting money back as a larger refund after doing your taxes. It's always best to fill out the form correctly to avoid any surprises at tax time. So how does the form change the amount of tax being taken off your pay? You'll enter information about the tax credits you plan on claiming when doing your taxes. This lowers how much tax is taken off your income. You'll be asked to enter amounts on the first page of the form to claim tax credits you may be eligible for in specific situations, like if you're a student paying tuition fees, have a child or dependent, financially support a spouse or common law partner, or are a person with a disability. Depending on which tax credit amounts are entered, your employer will use the total claim amount to determine how much tax to deduct from your pay. What if you have multiple jobs? If you have multiple jobs, it's important to know that you can't claim tax credits on more than one TD1 form if you earn more than the credits you're claiming on the first page of the TD1. If you claim tax credits on more than one form, your employer may not take enough tax from your pay. This can lead to a large, unexpected amount of tax owing when you do your taxes. So if you've already entered amounts on TD1 forms with one employer, read and follow the steps on page 2 of the form to make sure you don't claim credits with another employer. So when do you have to fill out the form? Thankfully, the form isn't something you have to fill out every year, but you will have to fill out the form each time you start a new job with a new employer. You should fill out a new form if your personal situation changes, like the ones mentioned earlier, or if you need to change any of the amounts you've previously entered. You can also fill out a new form if you want to increase the amount of tax that you want your employer to deduct from each paycheck. This might help avoid a tax-owing surprise at tax time. Once you've completed the form, you can hand it back to your employer and they'll use it to determine your pay. You don't need to send it to the CRA. But your next question is probably, how do I fill this out? We've got you. For most simple tax situations, you just need to read the instructions in each section and enter the amounts requested on the form. But here's a quick explanation of the sections you're most likely to use. On the first page, the easiest is number 1, the basic personal amount. This amount normally goes up each year and applies to every resident in Canada. The amount will be on the form, so for most people, you'll just enter the amount listed. The rest of the sections on page 1 will depend on your personal situation. You'll need to enter amounts to claim the tax credits for situations that apply to you. If you pay tuition fees during the calendar year, you can enter the amount in section number 5. You may be able to claim tax credits if you financially support a spouse, common law partner, a child, or a sibling. Depending on the situation, you can claim a credit on section 7 or 8. You may also claim tax credits if you're eligible for the disability tax credit, or if you're a caregiver for a child or a dependent with a disability, sections 2, 6, 9, and 10 may apply to you. Once you've entered amounts to claim the tax credits that apply to you, add up all of your amounts and enter that total in box 13. You're almost done. So what about page 2? The second page of the TD1 has some sections you may also need to fill out based on your personal situation. You may have multiple employers, earn a total income less than your total credits you enter in section 13, be a non-resident, or be filling out a new form to get more tax deducted from your paychecks. The form provides more details if you're unsure if any of these apply to you. If any of them do apply to you, there will be sections you may have to read or complete on the page. If none of those situations apply to you, the most important part is at the bottom of the page. Don't forget to sign and date the form to certify that what you entered on the form is correct. If you have multiple jobs, it's important to know that you can't claim tax credits on more than one TD1 form if you're earning more than your claim in section 13. And remember that you'll also have to fill out separate provincial or territorial TD1 forms. Once the form is signed, you can hand it back to your employer and you're done. You don't need to send it to the CRA. Well, there you go, the basic parts to fill out on a TD1 form. Hopefully this has made your experience easier. Keep these videos in mind for any time you change employers. We'll be here for you then too.